So hi guys, how are you? I hope your preparation is going well. So as you know, we have started with this series. We have done part 1 where we have done certain maps, you can see places in the news. Today we'll be dealing with something related to your geography. That means in particular something just say like your Congo rivers, you have your rivers, mountains and certain places which have been in news over the last 1.5 years. Okay, their significance, why were they in news? Well, there are certain, I would say, areas which will always be news. If you see number 1 Congo river, now in your previous lecture also we have done that copper belt. Okay, so those areas of Africa where there constant political strife, trouble going on, and we know they are minerally rich areas also, region also, you have US and China competing there. So you will find these kind of rivers areas, and of course as per your previous year question also these areas become important. Okay, so the first one here is your Congo river. This is the entire river made. Okay, quick points you have to remember: second largest river in Africa, deepest river in the world, and where does it originates from? This is where it originates from. Okay, this area. Okay, so that is your Congo river. Next is your Sarayu river or Sarayu, or however you want to pronounce it. ये तो अपना देसी है, ठीक है. Uttarakhand flows through Uttarakhand. Okay, and of course it deals with Uttarakhand, and it has your deep. It's related with your deep Hindu mythology also. Why was it in news? Because India's first solar boat was launched here in the Sarayu river. Now, if you see the map clearly, you will find it near the ancient city of Ayodhya. This side you will find. Okay, so that is where this river becomes important. And guys, your Ganga river, your Brahmaputra river, your Krishna, Kaveri, Godavari, all these river and their tributaries, you have to in one way or the other make a table, make a chart blindly or with maps, whatever way you want to do it, just mug it up, just learn it. In one way or the other, these will be asked, whether via wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, and we know there are so many with their tributaries and everything, and of course with their tributaries also. See, so many. They will just find, give you a map. This is a city of ancient city of Ayodhya. These are the rivers. These are the city now mentioned from east to west, west to east. So these areas are something you have to remember completely. Okay. So find different ways in doing that. We will of course deal with your important issues which have been in news, but then you have to also see the area surrounding it. Okay, so Hindu mythology river and everything. Chali, let's go. Panama Canal, of course this has been in news for a very long time, always been in news, and we have been doing it since our, I guess, our school days also, your Panama Canal. See, this area is your Panama Canal. You should see where where is it exactly located and how it is connected also. Okay. Of course, when you have places in news like your canals and all, of course their main perspective here is to reduce the transportation. See, reduce the transportation. Of course, here we are talking about the shipping. Now, see where it is. You have your Caribbean Sea also, and why I said it's important, because in today's time, with new president in United States of America, and with this area Gulf of Mexico being changed also, so you have to read this, you have to read and understand these regions very carefully. You never know what would be the next target of the government, I mean that president or whoever that is. So South America, he's anyway calling Canada as a 51st state, and whatever reasons. So even though the actual map will always say Gulf of Mexico, but these places have been in news. Okay, so just be careful with whatever you read about it. So what are the areas surrounding Gulf of Mexico and the countries surrounding your Panama Canal also. Wellington Island. Now this has been in news. Why? Because of the part which is mentioned here. Container terminal operations to Vallarpadam, this is in your Kerala. Now, of course, if you read the important points, largest man-made island located near Kochi, this is where it is, situated. Of course, you have, it's just an important, not that important, but why was it named, but under whose name it was named, formed using soil degraded during the deepening of Vemban Lake, and this is what the area is all about. Let's check out the nearby areas. Your Kochi is there, your Nittor is there, and then these areas, Fort Kochi and all, that is where it becomes important. Okay. So, these areas have been news, and first of all you have to ask yourself, did you knew about Wellington Island? There were so many who would not knew about it. With the name, such a fancy name, many would think, oh, this must not be part of India also. Next is your Baltic Sea. Now very important, quick questions can be made. Baltic Sea is surrounded by which countries? Okay, this is your Baltic Sea. Which countries are here? कौन सी countries surrounded? Which are, number one question. Number two question, which are your Baltic states? Okay, these are the questions you have to remember very carefully. Okay, this is your Baltic. So now why was this in news? Because a Stone Age wall was discovered beneath the Baltic Sea in Germany. That is why it was in news. Now Baltic Sea is anyway in news for some way or the other because of its location. Let's just show you the location. See, this is the location. Let me use some other pen. Green use करते हैं. ठीक है? This is your Baltic Sea, and these are the countries surrounding it. Now, of course, they will ask which country does not border Baltic Sea. You have to remember that way also. Of course, not pay you have to emphasize. Then which are the Baltic states that are important? They might ask you what if Russia is near the Baltic Sea or Norway is there or all these things. Okay? So remember these points carefully. Baltic Sea, your so many. Abhi we will read more also in in general. So you have to remember which are the countries surrounding and which are not. So automatically it will be cleared. Okay. Krishna Raja Sagar Dam. Now, of course, guys, you have these dams and rivers near in your Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. These becomes important because of the constant tussle here regarding your Kaveri. Now, this is built on the Kaveri river. It becomes important कि कहाँ पे है ये? On which river? Your Kaveri. ठीक है? Of course, now if there is a dam, of course it is meant for what? Your irrigation purposes, your hydropower, drinking water, everything. Now that is where disputes over Kaveri often bring in news the dam issue. So this is where it is located. This is your Bangalore, this is your Kannur, here in between. Okay, so whichever dam or hydropower project they're trying to ask, always immediately connect it with the river, because obviously it will be built on a river, and we will do more such issues also. More rivers and more such, dams, everything, because there will always be news. Maybe a new hydropower project is being made, and if a hydropower project is being made, which is, already on a river, which is in news or in contention due to some reason, or maybe near the border state. So these things will be, you have to blindly remember. Now Himadri station, okay, it is in your Norway. This is India's first Arctic research station. It was established when? In 2008, and of course this area has been used by Indian scientists to of course focus on your climate change and everything, focus on long-term monitoring of Arctic glaciers. Let me just get you the map. Okay, this area. Got it? So this is where it is located. Chali. Next, Kiru Hydro project. Again, very important because it is on river Chenab. Now, in the last lecture, we did something about your Indus Water Treaty. Now, you have to know your Indus Water Treaty and which are the west flowing rivers, which are the east flowing rivers. Okay, now something like your Chenab, your Jhelum are very important for J&K. Now again a very important project, Kiro Hydel project, J&K on Chenab, and where does it start from? Kishtwar area. This is part of Jammu division. Kishtwar is part of Jammu division. Okay, so Chenab river, that is where it is located, and this is why it becomes important. Anyway, your river Chenab is important because your one of the tallest bridges, you know, the railway bridges, which will be, I'm sure, inaugurated within few months, and it has been used for a long time because some new, you know, a bridge is being made, as well as, you know, the train trial is being done every other week or you know, month. So it will be open. That is why your Chenab river also becomes important from the perspective of questioning, that kahan se originate hoti hai, where does it flow to, all these things. So you're done. So we are making sure through these lectures, from one point or from one fact, we want to make sure that your two more facts are connected or questions will be made. Ponya river, Karnataka. Okay, this is in Karnataka. Again, you have to see the origin of all these rivers. Whichever river you talk about, you have to see their origin. Okay, then Chikmagalur district of Karnataka, and then it flows through your Tamil Nadu. Yahan se it flows, okay, and lies between Pennar and Kaveri basin. Okay, so this is where it lies. Okay, so this again becomes important. Again, somewhere the other, new happenings have been done, okay, because regarding this river also, Supreme Court had made a tribunal, because again, like I said, certain dams were built, and of course Karnataka and Tamil Nadu were again at loggerheads. Lake Natron, again Tanzania, you're part of Africa. Okay, Salt Lake located between Tanzania and Kenya. Just read it quickly and then we'll see the map. Between Tanzania and Kenya. Eastern branch of the Great Rift Valley. The Great Rift Valley, which is a very, very important topic for your geography. Which are the rivers concerned? Point them, mark them. These are very, very important for your prelims exam. Okay, and of course, very important, it is your designated Ramsar site also. Okay, so this is where it will become important. 2-in-1 news. Okay, these are your 2-in-1 news. Let's just see where it is located. Slowly. This is where it is. Lake Natron. This part. Okay, Lake Natron. यहाँ से आ जाता है आपका. Okay, so we have done many things regarding your Africa. Last lecture, this lecture, it will keep on going. Shyok River. Now this is in Ladakh. Guys, you will find many current affairs magazines and maybe, you know, all these places where you find all these general knowledge kind of thing also. So you will understand ki, please read it carefully. This river is in Ladakh. Now, post 2019 abrogation of Article 370, there were 2 UTs. The entire state of Jammu Kashmir was divided into 2 UTs. So, Jammu and Kashmir is 1 UT. Now, there are people who are still confused. Jammu they think is a separate UT, Kashmir they think is a separate UT. No, Jammu Kashmir is 1 UT and Ladakh is your another UT. Jammu Kashmir is UT with your legislative assembly and Ladakh is without legislative assembly. Now this river is in Ladakh. Why did I say that? There are various your current affairs magazines and portals which have mentioned it as part of J&K. J&K comma Ladakh or J&K part of Ladakh. Now it can get controversial. So this is why northern Ladakh se aata hai, tributary of Indus River. Now again your Indus Water Treaty. Okay, so again find out your tributaries, your left bank tributaries and right bank tributaries of your Indus River, Chenab River, and this is where it originates from. Okay, then it is showing where it moves, your meandering. This is what meandering means, and this is where it joins and eventually merging with Indus and Pakistan. So from various glaciers, of course Ladakh mein hai, it is coming from a glacier, and of course it will be right part of that. Okay, so I gave you this clarity that these things become important. Don't get confused with your करंट अफेयर्स पढ़ना है अच्छे से पढ़ो. Now let's see where is your Shyok gone. Yeah. ठीक है, this side Aksai Chin is here, Siachen Glacier is here, Shyok and all. Every year river gives. Nyoma is a very again famous place. Darbuk is a Leh के पास ही है. ठीक है, Nyoma is also one of the famous places of Ladakh. Next is a Parvati river. There is no map because I wanted to make sure that you know it by. It has been a very famous tourist spot also. Your famous places of Kullu or those places which people usually go. So part of that it becomes important. Also Spiti Valley and all, it becomes, they're located in the Parvati Valley of Himachal Pradesh, and you have to understand if it is in Himachal Pradesh then वहाँ से कौन-कौन से rivers आती हैं and which river it is part of a tributary, and it is continuing merges with Bias river. ठीक है, so it is that point also important है, but the reason it becomes in news because these places become hot tourist spot, and somewhere or the other they come in news due to the various geological reasons also. Ghat Prabha river, again your Karnataka based, tributary of which river? Krishna river. ठीक है, so again make a list of your Krishna, Godavari and everything. Where does it originate from? Western Ghat. Then where does it go? Eastward and merges with Krishna. ठीक है, इसकी अपनी भी दो, there are two tributaries, Hiranyakshi and Marangyanda are the major tributaries. Now where is Ghat Prabha? Oh, let me just. ठीक है, this is it. ये रहा. Okay, so Krishna upper, lower beam, this is Tungabhadra and all, middle Krishna and all, they are totally bifurcated, and this is where you will remember it is Ghat Prabha. Pampa Lake, again Karnataka. ठीक है, this is where it is, Pampa Lake. Let me change the color now. ठीक है, you have to see where it is. ये आपका हम्पी के पास है. This is located near your Hampi. Yeah, ठीक है, one of the 5 sacred Pan Sarovar rivers. ठीक है, जो भी है, it is part of that. Again mythology. It is connected with your Indian mythology. Now why was it in news? Because of the recent discovery which was made regarding a 2500 साल पुराना rock shelter painting, 2500-year-old rock shelter painting near this Karnataka's archaeological department. You have to see which rock shelter painting, you have to see which period they are donating to. Number 2, number 3, all these places are located. You will find 5-6 facts from this point only. Okay, एक तो this point, tributary किसका है, where does it locate and where does it come down. So this is where your rivers, be it from east to west or north to south, you have to remember. ठीक है, चलिए next is your Saipan Island. थोड़ा मैप पे लेके आती हूँ मैं इसको. कहाँ पे है? It is in your, ये रहा. Okay, it is in your western Pacific Ocean and capital of Northern Mariana Islands. US Commonwealth है, part of US territory, but does not have strategic this thing. Strategic importance, of course, there is. We can see that. Just a second. We can see that the strategic location, why it is important. See, यहाँ पे है, this is your Japan, this is your Canada, this is North Pacific Ocean. This खाली सा area which you see, it is strategically located, of course, to keep in mind. If you have Japan here, then you will have North Korea, South Korea, you know, your China Sea, South China Sea, and then connecting your this thing. And of course, Mr. Russia is also there. So of course, you has to make sure that they are stuck to some places which are their territories, or those territories which they consider become strategically located. very small place, but understand where it is located. They can ask you whether it is in Eastern Pacific Ocean or Western or maybe Atlantic Ocean, just to make sure they are creating some kind of confusion. Now, Gargi Sudbud Island. Sometimes I thought maybe it is a Desi island, but you never know. I thought it's a Desi name. But Caribbean Sea, okay? Now it is part of your Caribbean Sea, and the thing is, it is home to an indigenous people. Only itna hi rehte hain. Gunn people displaced due to high sea level. Now, of course, in your last lecture also, I mentioned about certain countries which not many people had an idea about Caribbean. They were African countries, and just because they were declared malaria free, also there were various reports from World Bank and other agencies which showed that they had certain global warming issue that they were suffering from. Now again, they will show these small island, okay, there has been a level rise of 3 to 4 millimeter annually. Now it's a huge huge changes, okay. So they are saying that agar tomorrow if the situation goes wrong, then this will be the first Latin American nation. Latin American, we have North America, Southern America, and in between those countries which you have, these are Latin American, evacuate entire island community due to climate change. Such has been the changes. Okay, so that is why it becomes important. And guys, remember this if you can. It can be important for your prelims perspective, and I hope it becomes important from your main answer writing perspective also. If you want to write an your answer regarding your climate change and given very accurate example also. See, entire island has to be evacuated. Tell me a better sentence or a line to get more marks. Okay, we can give examples of rising sea levels and all that, which has become very common over the years. But this is a very perfect example. Last 2-3 lines and crux, you get your marks. Okay, next is your South China Sea. The more I say, the less it is. The less I say, the more it is. Because what should I say? This is your South China Sea, a beautiful place surrounded by our beautiful neighbor. Okay, let me just change the color. Red pe aa jate hain. Okay, now you have to understand which are the countries surrounded by South China Sea. See, yahan se aa jata hai. You have to see which are the nearest gulfs. Okay, of course, NAN dash line, if you see, I have not mentioned it here, but it was a news, 9 dash line. It was in news 1 or 2 years back. It becomes important here because China takes control over this part, and it becomes important with which are the island nations connected to it. 1 point, second pointed by which are the countries, this is your second point. Then which are the straits associated, this is the third point. Second most used lane in the world, fourth point. Significant trade route for crude oil from Persian Gulf and Africa, Strait of Malacca, this is your 5 point. So इसी से आपके इसमें 5 points you are trying to get. Okay, so South China Sea, and just thoda aage, if you go on the right side, when you saw that upper wala point, that Sapien Island, which you has control over. Okay, so this becomes important. Four or 5 points you have got from here only. Okay, no, let's see. Bohai Shelf, again Yellow Sea, important. Bohai Shelf. Okay, innermost Gulf. Let me just get the map here. Yeah. See? यहाँ पे. Okay, so this is your China का नीचे वाला portion. This is your Yellow Sea. So it is it's part of, it's nearby, you can say your North Korea, South Korea. Of course, whole of your China is important, and it's connected with your South China Sea also, of course, if you read it more carefully. Innermost Gulf of the of the Yellow Sea. Proximity to Beijing, of course, Beijing आपका बगल में ही है यहाँ पे. Okay, And yellow river, of course you have to understand which yellow river kahan se aati hai, where does it come and go from, ठीक है. And this is why it becomes, you have to see which Gulf region it also goes. Okay, okay. So this becomes important. So we have done quite a lot about this area, the South China Sea. Why will this place be in news? This place will always be in news because of the Chinese, of the main, the main Chinese domination. This area will always be in news. You have constant trouble going on here because if the China has hold over sea, US will make sure to come over here and gain its strategic importance. So that is why those small islands become important. Again, we have something to do with the South China Sea. Second Thomas Shoal. Okay, let me just get the map for you. Yeah. Very chotu sa area there is. This is your Vietnam, China, Taiwan, Brunei, Malaysia. Uske beach mein you have this part. Okay? This part. Now, why was it news? It's a submerged reef. Reef. Okay? Part of South China Sea. Now, of course, because here Philippines had made possession over it. Let me just get you the factual wala part. Philippines had made certain possession over 1999. China claims it under the 9-dash line. Remember the 9-dash line I showed you, that circle wala part, aise 9-dash line when we are doing South China Sea, and overlapping certain zones about this. And of course Philippines later on, because China to sab kuch claim kar raha hai, Pamir Plateau also China is claiming mera hai. So Philippines challenged this China's decision, claims the Permanent Court of Arbitration, and it was a very, very important judgment and in news, and they have made sure that it was in the Philippines verdict. Verdict was in the favor of Philippines, as simple as that. Now, do you think China will accept it? No. Is that a problem? Yes. Why? Because we have to clear the exam. This is the part. Okay, this is a part. Find colorful maps when you read all these points. Okay, this is the last one for today. We will do 20 and then another 20-25 tomorrow, the next class. Mekadatu project. Again, this project is in your Karnataka. Okay? When you have find a project, of course, it will be a multi-purpose project, drinking water, power. These will always be two important points why a multi-purpose power project is being made. Now, of course, it is being made and it is ahead just near the border with Tamil Nadu. Okay? It is being proposed at the confluence of your Kaveri river and jo uski tributary hai Arkavat. Okay? So, this is again Karnataka's, Tamil Nadu says that it is Karnataka's attempt to restrict the flow. Okay, एक यहाँ पे project बन जाएगा, they will say they will try to, this is a proposed, it's just a proposed project. Again, it will be in use. Proposed है, you have to see which river, you have to see कहाँ से आ रहा है, which river it will try to fall. बिल्कुल border पे है. This is just near the border and it will, that is why Tamil Nadu is claiming that it will restrict the flow. Okay? So these were your 20 important location. We will do 20-25 only like this. Tomorrow also, next lecture also, we will try to do some 20-25 places, and then simultaneously we go to your environment part also. Okay guys, keep on watching the lectures and see you at the next lecture.